Hello, welcome to season 3 of Dishing with Diane, and we're actually on episode 20. I can hardly believe it, but I started this show 3 years ago to provide something of value and educational and informational for you all relative to your home. So we talk about everything home related, from maintenance to improvements to landscape to decor to buy, sell, mortgages, finances, all of it. So some of you have participated before, and I thank you for joining us again. And if you're new, just know this is a real-time live show. If you've got questions for our guests, we'll address them and take those. And anyway, I just wanted to take the opportunity to introduce our guest. I'm excited because I think this is maybe a little bit different topic, or at least a focused area that I don't think many of us think about. So I have Christina. She is the founder and president of Nest Egg. It's an inspection company. They are here, local in the Triangle area. But I think what we're going to talk about is relevant no matter where you live in the United States. So long as you own a home, I think this is relevant for you. So Christina, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah. So tell us a little about you, and then we'll dive into our topic.
Yeah, so we started Nest Egg Home Inspections over 5 years ago now in this area, and just came from a passion really that we had as we went through buying and selling homes. Just a sense that it could be done differently and better to put people in a better position. My husband had been in the trades in HVAC for years, and actually my best friend's husband, my old college roommate, her husband had been with a builder for a number of years as well. And as we went through, I made a move from the Charlotte, North Carolina area up to Raleigh, and then they ended up doing the same thing as we went through and did that process, and as well as when we bought some of our previous homes. It just can be a scary process, and you're trying to figure out as much information as you can about the home you're trying to buy. You're also trying to deal with if you get a home inspection report on the one that you're selling, and if you're not aware and you're just first finding out about the condition of the home, the one either you're buying or the one that you've been living in, it can be really scary, and you're in the middle of a transaction. And so there's just different ways that you can be prepared ahead of time, and that people can help guide you through that process. And so we're passionate about doing something in a different way, and have been on this journey, opened the company in this area in 2017, and just have been loving it, loving the people that we've gotten to meet, the partners we've been able to really develop relationships with, all to just help people that are trying to either buy, sell, or just live in their home, do it with a little bit more ease, a little bit more information, and make really well-informed decisions.
Yeah, I love it. She's speaking to my heart. I'm all about well-informed decision, helping you make your best choices. And I think something that you're saying, Christina, is why I thought this would be a good topic is, putting the home buy, sell, and that inspection process aside for now. I thought we'd talk about just things that people can do from a prevention, from a maintenance, from just staying on top of their home in such a way that they may not have to get to that point where it's bigger expense, bigger problems. So I thought you guys do something called a targeted inspection. So I'm not sure. Tell me a little bit more about what it is.
So we've got a couple of offerings that are, good ones to consider if you own a home. One is just think of almost similar to when you're buying and selling a home, a little bit more comprehensive look at everything, which is our annual inspection. So that's one. But if you have a specific area that you just know, like, hey, I had an inspection before, or I know a lot of things about the home, and I'm just worried about the crawl space, or I'm just worried about the HVAC system. We have a targeted inspection that's a lower price point, where we're coming in just to look at a certain system or function, something that you're concerned about. And so that's something that we can do as well. But really, when we're doing any of those inspections for a homeowner, we're trying to make sure we understand kind of where that homeowner is and what information they already are aware of about their house, and help them know how to take care of it. And so we actually will customize home maintenance checklists for the home for seasonally, because not every home has the same systems in place. Not every home needs to have certain things done. And so we're looking at the ground covering, and is there an area that you've got to make sure that the water is draining away from properly based on your house? Is there the gutter system, what things do you need to do to take care of that? The furnace, is it an older type of furnace that needs a certain type of check on a regular basis? Does it have a radon mitigation system? That's something that people forget, that's another system in the home, if you do have that, that needs to be maintained, and you do want to check and make sure that it's working properly to mitigate radon. And so yeah, we love coming in and just helping homeowners see where they are and helping them just understand and feel more empowered about their house. What are the systems in place? Which ones do I need to worry about? Which ones do I don't? And just like any honey to-do list. I mean, I think when we got our home inspection report, to a certain extent, my husband's like, oh, great, here's my to-do list.
Right.
Not everything is equal importance in terms of how fast you take care of it. And you do, as a homeowner, have to kind of play around with there's things I need to do and there's things I want to do, and how do I come up with a prioritization that takes care of the building integrity of the home, but also takes care of the things that are going to make it more functional for me. So whenever we're doing an inspection, we really try to understand how the homeowner's using the home, what things they know about the home, and then we can come in, depending on the scope. If it's a full home annual checkup, then we're going to check all the systems that we would normally, and then walk through our findings, and then help the homeowners prioritize and understand the impact of some of those things. Then if it's a targeted inspection only, then we can focus just on the area of concern. Sometimes it might be they know that they have some type of leak. They can't figure out exactly where it's from. The plumber can't, and they don't want to open up the walls. And so, some of the things that we've got, for example, are infrared. And so infrared is great because it can help you see temperature differences that help you understand where something might be happening. And so,
or where moisture might be in the walls and things like that.
And so, if you're trying to figure out what that is, rather than trying to pay someone to pull out the drywall and do all of this stuff, sometimes we can help get you into the right range and know what to do as the next step. And
that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, so I think that you've said a couple of really, really good things about the regular checking up. It, to me, it's like going to the doctor for your wellness checkups or for your annual exams and things of that nature. And I don't think we think about that with our homes so much. We only, it seems, at least in my experience and being in the business, it's more when people are getting ready to buy or sell is when they think about that, rather than doing some things along the way for the life of the home while you own it, maximize its enjoyment and its integrity, but also its value. I mean, that's the key pieces. If you keep things working right, or you pay attention to certain things, you're going to get and maintain a better value to your home. And I know most people don't even go under their crawl. We're fortunate. We got a big crawl. We can walk through the whole thing. But a lot of people don't have that. They've got small space and they're not going to shimmy in there. And I get that. The unfortunate thing, though, is, I mean, to be cliche, but it is the foundation, right? It is the base. And if things are happening there and you don't know of it, it does have an effect, could, up and through the home. So
absolutely,
I think this targeted idea of just even having come out and crawl space or areas we don't get to, attics and things, and see what's going on. I mean, how long does something like that take to do?
So if it's
obviously depends on size of home.
Absolutely. But if it's a targeted inspection, I mean, it depends on what might be going on there. It could be as short as an hour. If it really is trying to diagnose something's going on here, let's see if we can follow the clues and see where's the actual root cause, because that's the one thing about if you've got something going on with your house, there's fixing it cosmetically, but there's fixing the root cause of the problem to make sure it doesn't happen again. And then figuring out, okay, not only did I take care of the root cause, but it impacted some other areas, and now I want to take care of that. And so we like to try to figure out, can we get to that root cause? And so and if it's if it's a more comprehensive inspection of the house, then it's going to be closer to 3 hours typically. But it definitely depends on the size of the house and the components. And it also depends on how much that homeowner wants to learn about whatever that area is, because our inspectors, they really enjoy educating people. And so,
I think that's great.
So it just depends. But we try to meet people where they are. If they just want us to come in, look at this one spot, that's all they want, that's good, then we are just going to help take care of that. In and out, around an hour, you're all taken care of. You know either what to do, what's next. You know kind of a path forward and different advice on that situation. Yeah,
I mean, I think a lot of us, we don't want to know what we don't want to know, ignorance, but it never works out for us, right? If we don't be proactive in some things, or we
Yeah.
don't get something diagnosed, even for ourselves, right? Then
Yeah.
it's even it could be bigger for us and more scarier, as you said. So I think that you guys are trying to help, make this whole idea of home inspections be a little more enjoyable and a little more educational and informative as a tool for your home, instead of this like, oh my gosh, get an inspection. Like, I know some of my clients, we get those reports and they're pretty, they could be pretty lengthy.
Right.
But a lot of times there's stuff in there that's, just small stuff, but you got to put it in there because of regulations and codes. So
Yeah, absolutely.
so how do you help people in the deciphering and the explain, like, what do you guys do there? How do you do the education piece?
Yeah, so there's a couple things. One is, not all defect or issue or concern with your home is created equal. And there's, both how serious it is in terms of how quickly should you address it, but there's also, the cost factor too. Just because something is something you need to jump on right away does not mean it's expensive.
Okay.
And so
what's an example of that? Can you have an example?
Let's just talk about something from a safety perspective. Let's say that there's a window that's in a position where, if you go out the window, it's a big fall, and there's the window's not latching properly, and you could have a kid go out. That's a safety concern. It might be a latch. It might be something really inexpensive.
Okay.
So it could be something like that. There's this one house that we went to that there was a hole that was near the fireplace, and it was behind kind of where the TV was set up. Someone was either running wires or whatever they were doing. They had a hole, but you couldn't necessarily see it all the time. But it was in with the flue management system of the fireplace, and it could be all of a sudden letting the wrong smoke and different fumes into the house where you're trying to live, and you should not be breathing that. It was a simple drywall fix. It was probably, $100 or so, unless you wanted to go to Lowe's, and then it was, $20 a fix. But it was a safety concern. So you want to take care of it right away. You don't want to all of a sudden light that fireplace up and have those fumes coming into the home. So one thing I would say is we definitely are trying to help people understand things that are important, but I just wanted to say there's kind of two levels. Is it a safety concern and I need to be on this quickly, versus is it something that it's more major? It might not be something I have to take care of right away, but it is a more expensive thing that I need to be aware of. But in doing that, we like to kind of color code a little bit, just because you got to find, some way to segment it. And so we've got, things that are in the red category of this is a major or a safety concern. And then we have things that are in the yellow category. These are recommendations. They can be run of the mill, and depending on the age of the home, like, you should be expecting a decent number of things in the recommendations, but it's just giving you information about the condition and things you want to be aware of. And then there's sometimes even blue things of, hey, it's a maintenance item, but it's a maintenance item that's, in the scope of the inspection, and it's something you should be aware of because it's a maintenance item that hasn't been taken care of. It could lead to things over time, not a huge thing. And so we like to try to categorize it, because if you go into a house, whether it's one you're living in right now or it's one you're thinking of buying and selling, if it's a home that's not, newer, and even if it is newer, I mean, you could have 20, 30, 40 recommendations. That doesn't mean you need to worry like, oh my goodness, this is huge. But if you all of a sudden, instead of seeing 30, let's just pretend it's 30. Instead of seeing 30 right away, you see there's 3 major or safety concerns. You can then say, okay, help me understand these 3, and we can help you go through that. Like, this one is one you want to be on top of a little more quickly, and here's why from a safety concern. And these ones just could be a little bit bigger over time. And then you can start looking at the other recommendations and then some of the things from the maintenance perspective.
I do like the prioritization, because I think oftentimes you just get this litany of things, and most people are not, we're lay people, right? We don't understand all the things in the language and what's being said, and it can always sound more, like, oh my gosh, my house is falling apart, and it's not, I mean, there's just things on there that have to be called out and have to be said, and you need to go, go further and have an electrician or have this, and sometimes it's just not that big a thing. Do you know what I'm saying? And
absolutely.
I find a lot of my work sometimes is just helping people do what you're, kind of managing that reality and saying, okay, let's just look at what this is saying and try to organize it. But I like that you guys kind of already do that work. It sounds like you already provide some focus, and then people know where to put the energy, attention, and dollars, right?
Yeah, and then you can come up with a plan. Like on our house, like right now, there's different things that we want to do, and of course, my husband's list might be a little bit differently prioritized than mine.
Nah, that doesn't happen.
That's right, never happens. But we had a project that was probably lower on our list. It was, about changing some things up in the bathroom that wasn't high on either of our lists until we all of a sudden had a problem with the toilet that caused issue. And it's like, okay, well, if I'm going to have someone in here anyway, let's take care of this now. And so you bump, you evolve it. You bump some things up, you bump other things down. And then we got that one done, taken care of, happy with that. And then it's like, okay, we've got a brand new bathroom that we love. It's, maybe we did it sooner than we were thinking, but now it's time to pay attention to our crawl space. Our crawl space has a little bit too much moisture in it. We've known that for a while. It's and so it was time for us to decide to condition it and put a dehumidifier in there and do that type of stuff. It's not the fun thing, but it's something that you want to say,
but it's
okay,
important.
It's very important because I don't want structural cracks to be underneath it. I don't want things shifting around and causing issues. And so that's the next one on the prioritization list. And so, it is subjective. We try to help you understand the information behind it of the importance and the cost and things like that. And then you get to have the fun of this is something that you manage and it impacts your, how much you enjoy the home.
Right.
And, do you want to redo the kitchen island so that your friends can come over and play cards around the kitchen island? So it can be a fun thing. And that's the thing that I think some people sometimes forget because it can also, you add it up to a lot of money, but you don't need to do it all at once. It's just good information.
I mean, the thing is, we buy our homes. They're not cheap, right? We all know, right? It's a big expense. It's a major thing that we work for and live for and do. And we kind of do a one-time thing and then we're kind of one and done and we don't really think about stuff ongoingly after that. Right. So that's why I was just intrigued with that targeted inspection opportunity and people getting a handle on some of the areas on regular basis, not to wait till it's, they're ready to sell. That's what most people do. They wait to sell and then they find out all the things. Yeah. And you could have dealt with it and you could have enjoyed your home more along the way. So, my focus is not, I want you to appreciate the home you're in. I want it to have the best value while you're there. And then when it's time to make some decisions, you're in a better position. I think that's the thing, right? Yeah. So what other advice would you give to people in terms of how they I'm sorry, keep checking for some questions if we have any. I got to jump up, sorry. But yeah, keep talking. I'm going to throw more fire. I'm going to throw more logs and get our fire.
Be careful throwing fire.
Yeah, I'm not going to throw fire.
So I would say one of the things too is I mentioned it really briefly that we like to put together kind of home maintenance checklists for our clients, and ones that are specific to your home, so that way it doesn't have to be all the things that you might need to check, but it's the ones specific to your home. I really recommend having a checklist that you've got around, and whether you choose to have someone else go do the checklist for you or not, but being on top of each season, having the most important things checked, because then you'll know ahead of time. Like if you feel like you've got a good handle on your home right now and the condition of it, remember that things change over time. When we recently decided to do our crawl space, it was a little farther down. It was one more project down on the list, but as we just regular check it, it needed to get done sooner. The humidity in there was just getting too high, and we didn't want moisture impacting the structure or anything, and so we did it faster than we anticipated. So just doing those maintenance checks, because it can take.
So seasonally, what do you find, what things do you discover and kind of get some checklists around, because now we're what season? We're in winter, right? So what would be some winter things, and then as we head into spring, how does that checklist change from your experience? What do you say?
Some of it is even preparing your house for the fact that cold weather is coming.
Okay.
So right before this time, you want to make sure that if you've got the little insulated thing to put on the water spigot.
Okay.
The little insulated cover, you can get it for, a few bucks at Lowe's. You throw it on top of that. And then all of a sudden when we never know here, when the cold snap is really going to come and when it's going to be actually
or how long it's going to last.
Or how long.
Anything,
we just don't know.
Yeah.
And so if you just on your fall checklist, you have that you're going to put that on and you're going to make sure it's taken care of. It can save you hundreds of dollars if all of a sudden your pipe cracking and then you having an issue under your house or on the side of it. So some of it's just things like that.
Okay.
Some of it is it has been cold now, and now it's warming up. We're getting a lot more water. Let's just make sure that there's not water that's collecting in my crawl space that I need to know about. Let's make
Or by
sure
the foundation.
by the
or things
foundation,
like
yeah.
that.
Let's make sure that the leaves, are all cleaned out, that we're all set. Especially, I mean, here it's not like you can just do that in the fall. You never know leaves when they drop
No,
in the middle of
we
winter.
rake.
because-
Yeah, we're constantly. I feel like
With
I'm
our
always
seasons,
raking
it is
the
interesting.
yard.
So you do want to check it. You want to make sure before you get all that spring water coming to your house. Like, water is really, like the #1 enemy of a house. If it's in the wrong place, it's not a good thing. We love
Yeah.
water.
We need water. That's what
Right.
I always say. Our body, we need water. Our houses, it's not a good thing unless
So-
it's in the bathtub or the sink.
Yeah.
That's where the water belongs.
So I would say gutters are amazing on a house. They're an amazing tool, but if they're blocked, they're not going to help anything. And then the water's going not where you want it to go. It's dumping right at the base of the house rather than going farther out. And so they really are simple checklist things, and things that just help you remember, like, oh, it's time to change my HVAC filters. Things that are just going to help with the air quality in your house. Especially if you have anyone with allergies, but for everyone, like it's good, once a quarter to make sure you're staying on top of those. And so I would say that's something that you can do, on your own. It doesn't take that much skill. And then you can all of a sudden realize, oh, is this time that I might want to go get a targeted inspection? And just to give you a sense, like if you're getting a targeted inspection, that'll be, I think it's around $195.
Okay.
If it's, looking at a specific component, specific area, the inspector comes out, takes whatever time they need in that specific area. If you want to do a full, like once a year, like or once every other year, like a full look at the whole house, then that's going to be in the, $375 plus range, depending on the size of the home. So it's going to be in that range. But the maintenance checklist can help you know when all of a sudden, okay, it's time.
Time to do
because
this.
if I can have this thing checked out and know what's going on, this could save me thousands later because I can be ahead of whatever this concern is. And if you've got a relationship with an inspector as well that knows your house, they can pull it up in their system, look at it. You can even send a picture and just say, like we've got our inspectors are answering questions from homeowners. Or buyers or sellers all the time. That's just like, hey, I just noticed this. Is this something?
Can you tell me what
does
this is?
Is this getting worse? Like, I
Right.
know that you told me about this last year. Is this something getting worse? Should I
like
really
a
get someone?
teledoctor.
Yeah, exactly. It
For
really
your
is.
house.
It really is.
House doctor.
And our guys love doing that. I mean,
good.
they develop relationships with the people and love to. Oh yeah, like this house. Let's look at this one.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So that's what I would recommend is checklists.
Yeah, checklists. Okay, that's good. Some people are very list driven, so that's probably very helpful, right? To have that list and know what you're doing.
And if
have
you're
it
not,
season
find
to
that
season.
person in your life that
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
You know,
I married
my
one.
kids are teenagers now.
I
and
married
so